Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Before the Free Count. How are we all doing? I am your host with the most, as always. I am Charlie, and we've got a lot to talk about this week. Or maybe we don't. What am I going to talk about this week? So we've got a few options. We could talk about Friday Night SmackDown. It was good, but I'm not going to talk about it. We could talk about Monday Night Raw that we just had last night. We could talk about how there was a great triple threat, but we're not going to talk about that. We could talk about the first championship match for Maxine Dupree, but we're not going to talk about that. Hey, why don't we talk about how there's a triple threat that's been announced for Clash in Paris? We're not going to talk about that. Hey, let's talk about how John Cena's going to face Logan Paul at Clash in Paris. Nah, let's not talk about that. How about Roman Reigns is going to be at Clash in Paris? Now let's not talk about that. Hey, how about that feud they've got going on with the New Day and Penta? Nah, let's not talk about that. So what we're going to talk about, if you've been living under a rock for the last 48 hours, I'm going to give you a hint here. We've got a cross problem. Run the thing.
Are you ready?
We are Before the Free Count. Wrestling for the fans, by the fans.
The number one podcast for the latest on Raw, SmackDown, all pay-per-views. My name's Charlie. I've been a wrestling fan since I was the age of 15. And over the last 5 years, I've gone on the most insane journey. We go through everything, analysing every moment. Welcome to Before the Free Count. So come along and let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to yet another episode of Before the Free Count. As I was saying in your intro there, we've got a cross problem, and I'm not happy about it. I could talk about all these other things I did say in the intro. Let's just go through them very, very quickly to get them out of the way. Friday Night SmackDown was great. We had a few new things happen. Really nice to see Roman on there again. Great show. Apart from that, it was alright. Monday Night Raw last night, really enjoyed it. We had a really, really good triple threat tag team match, for LA Knight with CM Punk versus Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. Seth Rollins interrupted, turned into a triple threat that we're now going to get for the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash in Paris. Great idea. No Cody this week, quite surprising, but still. Really nice seeing Maxine Dupree get a match. Really, really happy to see that. Give that girl a push, man. Come on. Really like the teaser we got for Bayley. I like where this is going. This is looking cool. Thing with Penta and the New Day's heating up a bit. That was pretty cool. Was there anything else? No mention of Brock Lesnar. I'm trying to get everything out of the way, as you could probably tell. John Cena's going to fight Logan Paul at Clash in Paris. That will be awesome. Roman Reigns is headlining. Cool. Brock Lesnar's not going to be there because of something that's going down. We don't know what that is. Only 2 weeks to go before we get, of course, Worlds Collide by Forbidden Door by AEW. Don't even mention that often, but I'm mentioning it. I'm chucking it all in here. We've got the Triple Mania coming up soon. That will be pretty cool. The AAA pay-per-view coming up soon. Is there anything else I'm missing? No, I don't think so. Alright, let's get to the main thing. We've got a cross problem. I don't know what else you thought I was going to talk about this week, okay? It's currently Tuesday. So if anyone is really confused in why I've jumped on and made the whole podcast about Karrion Kross and Scarlett, considering I barely ever talk about these guys, I think you need to do a bit of research, come back and look at what's been going on for the last, week and a half and come back. Here's what I say. Go and read the outlines online. Go and see some of the rumour mills that are going on. Check out the WWE shop and see if you saw what I saw. Have a look on Pro Wrestling Tees and have a look at that. Have a look at Karrion Kross's social media. Oh, and of course, if I was you, I'd go and watch that documentary he released yesterday. Okay, caught up? Yep, awesome. Here we go. What the hell is going on, man? Is this a work or is it a shoot? That's what I want to know. Because either way, This is fucking genius. No matter how this ends up, okay? No matter how this ends, this is genius. It's genius in two ways. It's either genius by Karrion Kross for grabbing the lightning in the bottle at the time that it happened and having it all ready to go. Fair play to the man. And he is going to get booked on the indie scenes like that and be one of the hottest free agents in the world right now. Or this is another work by WWE like the way that we had in the last few months. You know how we had with Truth and we had with the Shockers with, you know, over SummerSlam, especially the only thing I could think of that you compare it to is, apart from our Truth, is Seth Rollins' injury. Is it a work? I don't know, man. At this stage, I really don't know. I want to say it is. I was pretty convinced yesterday it was. I'm 90% sure it still is. But man, if this isn't, and this is just Karrion Kross, I swear to God. Right, so let me just give a little bit more of a backstory for those that don't know what's going on, okay? Karrion Kross's contract was coming up at the end of SummerSlam. He had the match against Sami Zayn. Great match, nothing amazing. There was a lot of rumblings that weekend that I never got around to mentioning that Kross was, you know, he wasn't just going over like he was going to win the match. He was going over with the crowd, big time. He's just recently released a book that came out about 2 months ago now. He's been doing a massive book tour. And he's been going to a lot of places you wouldn't really think they'd let someone under a WWE contract go. And, you know, very interesting. But at the same time, he's not one of the major players. So, you know, would make sense. Get him out there. There was a few bits on social media I saw. Great. Lost the match. Little bit surprised. But, you know, as I said at the time, should have given them more time. Should have had time to develop that story. I didn't know more at the time, okay? I'm going to admit it. I didn't know more at the time. I wish I did. I wish I was more within the know. Believe me, I'm going to make sure that I'm in the know a bit more going forward on things like this now. Because I didn't realise this guy was going over as well as he was. I like him. I think he's great. I think his whole persona is fucking fantastic. I just don't think they've ever booked him right. And that's the truth. So yeah, then that happened. And then apparently, another thing that I massively missed was during the press conference when Triple H came out. I thought they were saying, we want Brock. They weren't. They were saying, we want Kross. In front of Triple H. And he turned it into, we want Brock. And then went, you know, oh, you want Brock, you've got Brock. So that's not what they were cheering. It shocked me. I feel like I'm a bit more of an outsider this week. Well, I did at the beginning of the week, I have to say. So, that all happened. Rumours started speculating around on Saturday, I think. I had a very busy weekend. I was with family. I was doing that stuff. That was why there wasn't a second podcast last week, and I do apologise for that. It's also the reason why I'm not so up to date with exactly what went down on Raw. SmackDown, because it's just I haven't had time to watch it. I'm not going to have time to watch it. I've got a lot of other things to do. I've got to keep track of this. I've got a lot of other stuff going on, and I've got to get ready to do another podcast next week, this week for you guys. You know, if you want me to keep this fresh, that's sometimes how it's going to be. I'm going to skip an episode. It's not going to get caught. So I apologise. If it was the greatest episode of Raw, well, I've missed out on the great SmackDown. If it was the greatest episode of SmackDown, I've missed out. That's my mistake. If I've missed out on the greatest episode of SmackDown, that's down to me. That's my mistake. There. Done. However, Sunday, I had a long journey home. Okay? So I was sitting there, I was listening to quite a few of my own podcasts that I like. I was listening to the Cody Rhodes show. And I listened to the One Dead Man show. 6 Feet Under. I listened to Stephanie McMahon's. I listened to... What Culture. I was listening to a lot of different things. It was a long journey, as you could probably tell if I'm getting through that many different things. And, you know, I'm scrolling through my phone, I'm going through stuff. And my media starts popping. Because, you know, certain people you can, like, you know, get notifications when, you know. And things started going off on certain people that I've got, you know, tagged. And I start seeing stuff like Karrion and Scarlett's been released. Karrion Scarlett's been released. Karrion Scarlett's been released. I was like, whoa, okay. And the thing that shocked me was for two reasons. One, it's not that time of the year that they release people. Which makes me sound really stupid, but, like, some people sign contracts at random times of the year. But, sometimes they all get them to renew around about the same time, which is around about, start again in January, start again around about spring after Mania. I don't know a lot of contracts that finish after SummerSlam. There clearly is some, but, the majority of them have been renewed, clearly. So, I start seeing this, I'm thinking, that's really sad, man. The guy's really good. But I guess he just wasn't given the time that he deserved. And I immediately thought back to what I was saying last week about the Sami Zayn match. And I thought, that's a real shame because, they're going to jump from that to that and nothing's ever going to be said about it. And it's almost like, what was the point? And then, Monday, so yesterday for me, I'm at work and literally my phone is going off every 15 freaking minutes. Doom, da-doom, 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 da-doom. Da-doom, 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 da-doom. And I honestly, at the point I had to put my phone in my bag because it was distracting me from my work. It was that mental. I went out, I looked at it at lunch, and I started seeing it. We want Kross, we want Kross, we want Kross, we want Kross, we want Kross. It was everywhere. And then it just came up massively. Here's the main thing about it. Go watch now. Hear the true story. Hire me. His private email to book him. Hear, all that kind of stuff. And I started seeing it. I was like, whoa, this is, It was the fact that he immediately put it out. It's the fact he immediately leaked his own, well, we think is his own booking email. And he put up this link to a documentary, and I thought it was going to be like a 5-minute social media thing. I didn't even realise it was a YouTube video. So I clicked on it and it goes to YouTube, and I thought, if I've got time left on my break, I'll watch this now. It came up 45 freaking minutes. Whoa. So I thought, this is heavy. And then I got home and I immediately watched it. And I was immediately whilst I was watching it, I was on socials and I was catching up and I was seeing it trend. And I was seeing it go from number 3 to number 1 in the UK, number 1 in North America, number 1 globally. It was the top story on Twitter at one point in the world. Okay, it's been the number 1 story on the wrestling subject on Twitter for the last nearly 48 hours now. It's been I think it's been in the top 5 of sports trending for the last 48 hours now. If you haven't seen the documentary, go and watch it. The reason why I'm saying that, and the reason why I'm saying you could catch up with what's going on within the now, literally, the documentary literally finishes on the day it was released. No joke. So, it follows his last week. Well, I think it's a week. It could be 2. But I'm pretty sure it's only 7 days. And it goes from 3 days before SummerSlam, builds up, goes to do his book tour stuff, speaks about stuff. There's some bits from previous conversations he's had. Lots of other stuff. And you see the side that we have not been seeing for Mr. Kross, and the crowds are there, the fans are there. He sold out his photos for the SummerSlam meet and greet thingies quicker than anyone. Now in the UK, we have the WWE Europe shop, okay? So this is why I didn't catch on to this sooner, okay? I went immediately onto the American one. Number 1. And in the documentary, number 1. He's been the number 1 t-shirt selling guy for the last month and a half. Okay? Nearly everywhere he's been, there's been "We Want Kross" chants, but they've been sounding it down. He was told when he went to Saudi Arabia that there was a chance that they were going to boo if Sammy won, which he did, and that was their biggest worry. Because Karrion's a bad guy, you boo the bad guy. They've not been that worried with Cena. But here's the trick, okay? There's a lot of things in this documentary that we see that shows the backstage areas. Not massively. We don't see, anything major. But there's things in it that I think that if it wasn't a work, it would have been taken down straight away. Especially since we've just had the Unreal documentary come out. So here's a few things that have got me thinking that this is a work. And if, again, as I've said, either way, this is genius, okay? It's genius if it was just Kross, because he's just made himself the #1 free agent in the wrestling world. If this is WWE and Karrion Kross and Scarlett, then this is one hell of a work, okay? But here's why I think it's a work. You see a lot of the backstage areas, not loads, but you see a lot of them, okay? You see a lot of clips of him with fans and with people at SummerSlam that you wouldn't usually see unless if it was part of within the world. So, like you saw the lines, you saw people talking, they would have had to, if this was an unlicensed, not registered WWE documentary, then, sorry to take a bit of time out in the vlog for you, but I wanted to talk about our sponsor, the amazing WrestleCrate, as you may have heard here. What is a WrestleCrate? Well, let me tell you. WrestleCrate is a monthly subscription box for people like you, that love wrestling. What do you get in this box, you're probably wondering? Well, let me show you. Autographs from people like Daniel Bryan, Lita, Godfather, DDP, Kane, Sting, the Hardy Boys. Well, what else do you get? Well, maybe you get a cool poster like this one, cool key rings, even pretty cool Lucha Libre puzzles like this. Cool pins like these, and you also get awesome t-shirt just like all of these. It's the best part, because you come through us before the free count, you can get yourself a free WrestleCrate with your first order just by going to www.wrestlecrate.co.uk and using the code BTTC, and you get a free box with your first order. How awesome does that sound? So what are you doing sticking around here? Go and get yourself one. And maybe that's the other thing, man. Maybe it was, and that's how he's gone away with it. But, it's such a tricky part. On this one particularly, this is such a tricky part to be able to tell. So maybe it was, and that's why, they let him film this stuff, or the camera guy was allowed to film this stuff and follow him around. Because at the time he was under the contract, they knew he was on a book tour, he was doing his own little promo thing, it was working freaking brilliantly. Okay? And as I said, some of the stuff was on socials, most of it wasn't, but some of it was. But most of the stuff in this documentary, I'd say 90% of it we had not seen on socials. Okay? And I'm just being honest. Okay? It was also other things that caught my eye very, very quickly when they appeared, which was things like quotes from Steve Austin saying that what I'm seeing with Kross is the same I saw when I was getting the push, and the fact that Paul Heyman was not just quoted, but you heard him, saw the clip of him saying what he's doing at the moment is absolutely genius. The last time I saw someone go over like this, he said, was Steve Austin as well. There was clips of him backstage at the hotel the night before SummerSlam talking about the event with Jelly Roll, okay, who's, if he's not supposed to say certain things, and, he's under, can't say this, can't say that, we're doing it a bit differently now, but, that's one of the big ones for me, was the fact that Jelly Roll was in it. Because if they're trying to, Jelly Roll would have been told, you can talk to these people, you don't talk. If you're a newcomer into this world, believe me, you are told, you can talk to these people, you don't talk to these people, you don't work with them, you work with them. Okay, you can ask questions to these guys. You don't ask questions to these guys. Okay, it's a rule. Okay, it may not be like I haven't ever had that experience myself. But if you know enough about the wrestling world, if you are pulled in and you're a big enough celebrity, believe me, they are gonna go through that stuff because it's the same thing with everything else in life. Okay. If you go into a new job, you're going to be told you can do this, you can't do that, you can wear this, you can't wear that. It's the exact same thing, okay? And with this being a multi-billion-dollar company, the exact same thing would have been said to them, okay? So there's about, I want to say nearly 5-minute conversation, it may be less than that, with Jelly Roll, where he's talking about stuff, saying that you're so over, you're awesome, da-da-da-da-da. There was lots of very awesome clips with Charlotte in, and I think Charlotte doesn't get a lot of, Scarlett, sorry. I don't think Scarlett gets a lot of credit here, I really don't, because they're a team, they work as a team, and that's how it is. There was a lot of quotes from people that worked with Bray Wyatt, and there was a lot of fans that were comparing him, like the aura of the way he's doing his gimmick was a lot like Bray Wyatt. And that's one hell of a compliment to get. For me, that, if I was a wrestler and someone said your work's reminds me of him, or you remember that, because he was a legend. Okay, we lost him too soon. Okay, R.I.P. Bray. Miss that man, really do. But what I'm trying to say is there was enough stuff there to make me go, this is realistic enough for me to think that it's too much information for it not to be a work. Because if it was legit and all of this was real, I don't think the clip with Jelly Roll would be in there. Genuinely. I don't think that some of the filming around the SummerSlam events would be allowed. The quotes from Paul Heyman and Steve Austin. No way. No way. The other thing was, when I was researching all this, there was, I thought, as I said, I'd look on the WWE shop, and I looked on the American one. I saw certain things, and they had t-shirts on there. Now, I don't know Karrion's t-shirts well enough to say that this is 100% a work. I'm pretty confident, okay? I'm pretty freaking confident, but I don't know his t-shirts well enough. One thing he kept on saying a lot in the documentary was, I'm not going to be that good soldier anymore. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have a t-shirt out saying good soldier, okay? I'm not saying that at all. But there was a shirt that is on there that says good soldier and kross on the back. That ain't getting released until the 18th of August, okay? It's currently the 11th. Okay, the wording they've got on there is this will not be shipped until the 18th. Now, I've spoken to a few wrestling fans and they said, well, maybe they're just trying to get rid of stock. I was like, yeah, but stock on a new thing? If you're going to do that, you just reduce the prices on everything and try and get it done. Like, look how quickly they tried to get rid of Brock's stuff when he was gone. It happens. But, again, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there was shirts for Naomi and Sasha Banks up 8 months after when they departed nearly 4 years ago. It happens. But it's not that they weren't there. It's not like they weren't ready to ship. These things are saying they're not ready to ship until the 18th of August. Okay? So, I don't know what's going to happen. So today's the 11th, so I'm going to work it out right now. So 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. So I'm thinking if it's the 18th, he's got to be... But then again, that's quite weird that it would be the 18th, because that's just the Raw. Oh man, this is strange. This is really strange. I don't know. Maybe these shirts aren't relevant, but I think that there's 2 ways, well, there's 3 ways that this could go. 1, this is real, it's been released. Again, another thing I didn't mention, Pro Wrestling shirts. They've got 2 new wrestling T-shirts and pro wrestling shirts for now. If you're under WWE, from what I'm aware, I very much doubt that unless if they're vintage or old, you're going to get a brand new T-shirt on pro wrestling shirts, okay? Just from what I know. Second thing, there was no... I listened to Busted Open yesterday, which I always do on a Monday. And Bubba had some very good points, which were, I doubt that we're going to hear "We Want Kross" on Raw, purely because of the location. Now, the location this week was in Quebec, Canada. Sami Zayn came out, they went insane. You know, if it was somewhere else, we may have heard them. Now, I'm not saying that Canada doesn't like Kross. That is not what I'm saying at all. I think there's enough evidence saying that I think he's got a pretty big freaking fan base in most places now. Okay, so that's not what I'm saying to start with. I think that if there was any, they intentionally cut them down. But the other thing is that there weren't that many signs in that crowd last night. And I've been to they've done this before, so don't think this is made up. A lot of the time when they come to the UK, they will not let people take signs into the arena. And the reason is because they think it's a safety hazard. Now, at Money in the Bank, they let people take in signs. At SmackDown, they didn't. At Clash of the Castle, because it was a stadium. But most of the live events, very rare they will let you take signs in. I think the only place I know that's pretty good for the sign thing is Wembley Arena in the UK. I might be wrong. Up north, they might do it differently. But I think that might be the same with some of the arenas in America, or in Canada, should I say. So maybe that was part of it. Maybe it was intentionally done because so many people brought "We Want Kross" signs that, you know, I don't know. Yet again, when I woke up this morning, he said that we heard you loud and clear. So I didn't hear him. I didn't hear them. But he's saying that. I don't know. I really don't. What are my expectations on this? Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the three things that could happen. Okay, so the three things. Okay, one, this is real. He's actually been released. Which after all of this, if they have not made contact with him in the last 48 hours and they have genuinely let him go, WWE, fucking shame on you. Okay, you have just let go one of the potentially one of the biggest stars you've got coming up, and you need to start getting them people in and start getting them over, because your Seth Rollins, your Roman Reigns and people like that, they're getting old. Okay, your CM Punks, it was said last night, 40 and 47, them two in the ring. You know, that was LA Knight and CM Punk. So, you know, Roman's getting there. I know for a fact that Rollins definitely doesn't have long. LA Knight, 40. Kevin Owens ain't young. Randy is definitely near the end. We've spoken about this many, many times. Randy is definitely near the end. Rey Mysterio, haven't seen him for a God knows how long. Okay? All the legends that are there, I'm not saying they're going to go overnight, but you're going to, you know, we need to start seeing new people come in. That's why we're seeing people like, you know, I can't even say like Cody's young, you know. He must only be a few years younger than Roman. I wouldn't be surprised if he's about the same age as Seth. I know Randy's definitely older. I know Randy and Ray, and I'm pretty sure Ray is older than Randy. Them two are the oldest that are still currently on the roster. I could be wrong here, and I'm going to be really... If someone says fucking Paul Heyman, I swear to God. Active is what I'm talking about. Active. You've now got me thinking, man. Is that anyway? Oh, John Cena, of course, but you know he's retiring, so you know that's different. And there you go, John Cena, he's leaving. So there you go. There's right. So scenario one, he's gone. And if so, shame on you, WWE. You've just let someone go that could have been potentially your next. I don't even know who to compare him to, because he's so unique. You know, your next Bray Wyatt, maybe. You know, someone a bit like The Undertaker. You know, your next guy that if you gave him a shot, he could be. And next, Drew. I'd say Drew as well. And that's another one. Drew, he's getting old. He's not the oldest out of all of them. He's probably got another 10 years, probably. Sheamus, there's another one. We don't see him as often. He's in Ireland again for like the 4th freaking time this year. Get it? They're allowed their own family time, stuff like that. Becky, same thing. Bayley, same thing. Charlotte, same thing. Okay, the women, if we're going to go to the women, absolutely fine. You've got that covered, nailed. Been speaking about that a lot lately. Women are killing it at the moment. Men, killing it, but, you know, still using the same styles you were using 10 years ago. Literally now. You know, the only one mixed in there is Moxley. Prove me wrong. Anyway, so yeah, either this is real and he's about to become the biggest indie star since Matt Cardona. Number 2, this is a work. This is where I think we are. We're at a work where only a few people know. This is another thing that came out, okay? People apparently that work for WWE but that don't have anything to do with the creative team believe that he's genuinely let go and it's real. Well, of course they would, because why would the fucking people that are not involved in creative have a clue? Look at how they've dealt with Seth and all this stuff that we've had recently. I keep on saying this, man, is the way they're doing this is that they are keeping it very, very tight to like 3-4 people. That's it. Okay? Triple H is one of the people that know. Obviously, Karrion and Scarlett know. Nick Khan obviously knows. You know, those people know. Maybe a couple of the writers, maybe someone like Michael Hayes knows as well. You know, and that will be it. No one else. So let me just count that again. Karrion, Scarlett, Nick, Triple H, Michael P.A.'s, and another writer. 6 people. And if this is real, that is how many people know. It's them 6 people. 7 if we're going to count people like Stephanie McMahon, because he's not going to fucking lie to his wife, you know, and she's been involved in the business for years. So, you know, 6-7 people at the most know. And if so, they're playing this perfectly. Do not let this leak. Keep it quiet. Maybe that's why they want to push this back a bit more. Personally, I think this could kick off at Paris. I think there's a chance they may leave it until War Games, but I think if they left it that long, they may have missed the lightning in the bottle effect here. 2 weeks, it would work. All these things have been working in 2 weeks, 3 weeks timelines, and then when they've let it go, it's just shattered, okay, everywhere. That's how they're going to play it, if that's the way they're doing it, okay? And that's if I'm right on the work and all that, okay? I'm not saying I am, just that's the second option here, okay? Third, up till yesterday, or up till today, or whatever you want to say when it is and when it does happen, if it does, it's been real. But the reaction of all of this has made them go, oh shit, we've really fucked up here. Get him back. A bit like the R-Truth situation, you know. Where apparently he genuinely was released, but they quickly turned it around within like 24 hours and said, we're going to make it part of the story. Shut the fuck up, act like you're still released. And that's how we do it. And yeah, so we're at the point now where the phone call is being made, has been made, is going to be made. Okay? And when it does, again, same thing, you know, they've caught the lightning in the bottle. When they release it, it's going to shatter everywhere. It's the only, you know, and they're the only 3 options I see here. Well, obviously, but I would genuinely be shocked if it turns out this is all real. And again, as I said, if it is, shame on you, WWE. And at the same time, fucking huge congratulations to Kross for timing this perfectly. And, of course, Scarlett. You know, congratulations on timing this perfectly, because you two have just become the biggest freaking names that are free agents in the wrestling world. I don't think that's true, though. I don't think that's true. Let's see. I wish I could go on about it a bit more, but I don't want to sit here rumouring and speculating and stuff like that. Because at the same time, there's people that don't want to know what's going on. And you want to watch it play out. You know, look at the Seth thing. I didn't catch that. I don't think anyone freaking did. Brock Lesnar thing, that was kept so quiet. It only started really leaking on the day. And it only started leaking, apparently, at the SummerSlam event. That was it. Nowhere else had I seen anything. Okay? I said it last video on the reactions to SummerSlam. We don't know what's going on now. And literally 1 week later, we're back in the same saddle position again. They are playing us like a finely tuned guitar. And when they're ready, they're going to blow our mind with the greatest guitar solos. And that's how I see it, okay? Guys, I want to know what you think on this, you know, because there's going to be another video this week. I've got to know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a shoot? Do you think this is a work? Either way, it's genius for whoever came up with it. Okay? If you've sat here listening to this saying, I didn't know anything about this and blah, 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 go and watch the freaking documentary, okay? Just go now. Go and watch it, okay? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know this has been very off the cuff. I don't have any notes really at all that I've gone off this week. The same notes that I had last week, actually. So I've written nothing new. This has all been boggling around in my head since basically Monday afternoon, so yesterday. So yeah, I hope you all have a great week. I will see you guys on the summary of SmackDown this weekend. Will we know more by then? Will this just carry on? Will there be something leaked? Will there be something that we think's leaked that's a work? We don't know. I just don't know anymore, guys. I feel like that clip of Sheldon when he's deciding if he wants a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. If you can find it, put the clip of that in. You know, where it's just, I don't know.
I don't know! Let's get you some food. You'll feel better after you eat. Okay. What do you want? Like Thai food? A burger? I don't know!
That's how I feel now. Any question about wrestling? So what do you think of this? I don't know! But we've got a cross situation. And we need to get it fixed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.